did you say that the fight was rigged?
When that fight finished, I honestly thought I had won. That's why I had my hand in the air when they were about to announce it, because I honestly knew I was landing my shots. I knew I'd hit her more than she hit me. The commentary was really trying to make out that I was windmilling, and yeah, okay, my technique wasn't the best, but I think someone watched the fight and she only landed 5 shots on me.
She said, fuck AJ, she's irrelevant. Thanks for taking the fight on short notice, you fucking idiot. And then she also said, you're a fucking loser.
I expected better of her. Think about your actions and don't just think about money. You don't look big and you don't look hard for being that way. What do you gain from being a horrible person?
Hi guys, as you well know, I interviewed the Love Island star AJ Bunker. She was preparing for a fight and now she's had her fight. I wanted to talk to her again about the fight itself and also about the bad blood and beef between her and Elle Brooke. Had a really good interview with her, very, very good conversation, and she's an absolute star. Check it out. I've seen a lot of drama, a lot of slander, a lot of comments in the media made by your opponent, and I wanted to address that, but also address the positive stuff, which is getting in there, becoming the best version of you, you know, overcoming. Let's be honest. I mean, anyone getting into the ring, there's an element of fear there, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. There's the fear. Do you know what? It's weird. On the day, I didn't feel nervous at all. In fact, I had a nap before my fight. I think I was just so excited to get in there, and I was so fortunate to have Jordan as a coach and really get my mindset ready to go in there and just do the best I could. But yeah, obviously, there's always that element of fear. But to be honest, after all the being amongst my opponent, I wasn't as scared as what I'd seen before on media as to when I actually met her in person. She wasn't as intimidating as I thought she was going to be.
I mean, I think that's a bit of a life lesson. It's the idea of doing something. So the idea of jumping out an airplane, the idea of starting your own business, the idea of getting into a boxing match. There's elements of risk to it all, but
absolutely,
it's the perception of it. And the moment you get there, in actual fact, you work out that it's not as bad as your mind has made out it's out to be, basically.
Absolutely. And I would say I'm quite a adrenaline junkie anyway. So the idea of jumping out of a plane, I've done it. I love it. That sort of, I kind of thrive off adrenaline and that excited feeling. It just kind of makes you feel alive. And I think
definitely,
you know, that's what life's for. Just trying things and throwing yourself, being uncomfortable with the uncomfortable and just throwing yourself into situations that you've never before. Because how do you know you like something until you've done it?
Yeah, for sure. So look, I've spoken to Jordan. He's a good friend of mine, and as I mentioned before, he's a former podcast guest, and we talk quite a bit. And even he said after the fight that you won the fight in his opinion. Yeah. But then the devil's advocate to that is but he's a trainer. He's bound to say that. But then what he said to me is he saw Mark Tibbs, and Mark Tibbs even said to him that you won the fight, and that's obviously the opposing corner. And then when I looked at the scorecards, Elle Brooke won the fight 40-36 on points over 4 rounds, and there was even a judge that came into your dressing room and said, actually, I thought you had that. I mean, this is what the Mirror said on the 17th of July, so that's the day after your fight. How accurate is that? Did a judge really come into your dressing room?
Yeah, a judge did. And he goes, I don't know how you didn't win that. And he also said, I don't know how it was a unanimous decision, because he was like, the way I scored you, he's like, I thought you had won every round. So if anything, it should have been a split decision, not unanimous. So that's why I was confused. And obviously, Jordan's my coach, but every time I was going back to my corner, I was landing my shots. Okay, look, let's be honest, my technique wasn't the best, but I had 2 weeks. I was going from an MMA stance and how you throw MMA hands to getting into boxing. And, you know, and also I didn't realise how short she was. So it was a bit, maybe my technique wasn't the best, but in terms of landing punches and having more contact with her face, I definitely had more shots hit her than she hit me. And I thought that's what boxing was scored on. To be honest, I thought that I don't know what they were scoring on technique or landing shots, but in terms of me hitting her, I definitely scored more points. I think I've had so many DMs. I think someone watched the fight and she only landed 5 shots on me. That's someone who just watched it, and so many people said to appeal it, or you've been robbed, or it's been rigged. I think watching it back, the commentary was really trying to make out that I was windmilling, and my technique wasn't the best, but it was trying to deter from actually me landing those shots.
Yeah. At the end of the day, look, no matter whether your style looks pretty and sexy or it is chaotic, the facts are, if you're the aggressor and you're landing more shots, whether that comes from a windmill or whether that comes from a very, very accurate jab or a straight shot or hook, the facts are you should be winning that fight. Look, I want to, address something that was said in the media, which is, that the Mirror said that you said you believe the fight to be rigged. And I'm going to ask you the question of, is that true? Is that what you truly believed? But at the same time, there is a caveat to this, which is I box. I've had 16 fights. I know from amateur to pro and in unlicensed, there is an element of things being swayed towards a favourite side. So I do understand that culture does exist in boxing. So, I mean, is the Mirror right? Did you say that the fight was rigged?
From when I left, to be honest, when I finished that fight, because I had no bruises. She had. If you look at the footage back, she had a busted nose, face was covered red. I was barely touched. So when I left, when that fight finished, I honestly thought I had won. That's why I had my hand in the air when they were about to announce it, because I honestly knew I was landing my shots. I knew I'd hit her more than she hit me. So when they said Elle Brooke, I was like, how is that? And how is the score 36-40? And saying that she won every round when she definitely did not win every round, because there was some rounds where she hardly hit me at all. So I'm curious to know what those points or how she won that. Was it that points were deducted? But coming out of that fight, I definitely thought that I had landed more shots than she had.
I want to ask you your opinion on Mark Tibbs and also Ebony Bridges. She's obviously a professional fighter herself. She's world champion, 2-time world champion in actual fact. And she actually did say a compliment, which is, she's tough, referring to you, AJ. But then in the next breath, you had Elle Brooke, your opponent, coming on. And these are some of the quotes. She said, "Fuck AJ, she's irrelevant." Then she went on to say, "Thanks for taking the fight on short notice, you fucking idiot." And then she also said, "You're a fucking loser." And I was quite actually taken back by that, because when she said this on IFL TV, and this is only a couple of days ago from now when we're recording, so that happened on the 17th, I believe. Boxing's always been known as a gentleman's sport, quote unquote, okay, or a professional sport, okay. And typically what happens to sell a fight, there is bad blood, whether that's natural or kind of falsified a little bit just to sell the fight. But then after the fight, no matter who wins, no matter the result, there's a handshake and there's a bit of respect there. It does seem like she's taking this very personally.
And it shocks me because, to be honest, even before the fight, I didn't really go personal with her. I didn't. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to obviously influence and show the other side of boxing. I wanted to have that experience. So I don't know where the personal thing comes from, because there's no reason for her to hate me. And when I watched that back, to be honest, I had been interviewed by the Mirror beforehand, and I was saying, I'm really proud of us. We're the only female card. I think, it's great for us women to do that, and I respect her. And I was glad to have done the experience. So it was only when IFL come in afterwards and they told me that she said something completely different. And I watched my fight back yesterday, and I didn't realise whilst I was in the ring with her, she called me a dead ting whilst I was in the corner just after the fight. Like, where's the respect? Where's the sportsmanship? It's disgusting. I think it's really vile. And there's no reason for her to be like that. The fight's done. You don't need to sell any more tickets. You don't need to sell any more PPVs and there's no reason for you to dislike me. And in the interviews leading up, she was like, well, I don't actually have a problem with AJ. Do you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. I just want to entertain. Right. So then why are you talking like that after you've won a fight? Which also, by the way, you don't really have the right to talk like that, because you only just about won it, if not it being rigged. So, you know, she wasn't as good as she said. She hyped it all up. So why are you talking like that? Because if anything, she had more respect for me. And also that fight would never have gone ahead if I hadn't taken it. So she should just respect that. And I just think in terms of sportsmanship, and Mark Tibbs and Ebony Bridges, they're professionals. They should want only the best side of boxing to come from this, and us to see the good side, the sportsmanship side, the respect side. So for them to allow her to make those comments and support someone like that, it's quite disappointing for me. I think Mark Tibbs is an amazing coach, and obviously Ebony Bridges is the IBF world champion. So how they can stand next to someone who disrespects someone who's got into the ring with 2 weeks notice, who's female as well, who's an influencer, it's completely out of my comfort zone. So I just thought it was really disgusting, to be honest. And how they can support someone like that is it's beyond me.
Just like, look, things like you're a fucking loser and you're a fucking idiot, that's kind of like throwaway slander. And it's almost like people say that when they don't know what else to say. I mean, I've probably said it in my lifetime because I'm just frustrated or I had a bit of anger there. But the one that sticks out for me is, fuck AJ, she's irrelevant. What does she mean by that, that you're irrelevant?
Well, who knows? This is the thing. It's like, what does she mean by that? Is she talking about in terms of this social media industry? Because how am I? Like, you know, we have different audiences. So yeah, maybe I don't know what she means by that. It's just, you know, if I weren't relevant, why am I still on the co-main card with you? Do you know what I mean? It's just, why am I even having a fight with you? You know, it's just pathetic. They're just pathetic. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. I just think it's really sad, to be honest. It's quite pathetic, and I expected better of her. I expected better because I've seen her do interviews, and she has said, "I want to inspire. I want to show that there's more to us. You know, the girls in the sex industry, and that there's this side." And you're not really you're not being a good role model right now, to be honest, by talking like that about somebody, or you know, and speaking that bad of someone when they've done nothing but be respectful towards her. I've done nothing but show her respect. I went up to her after she finished the fight. Even though I was disappointed with the result, I still went and shook her hand and gave her a hug, because that's what you do in this sport. You know, it's just, I have no words. I was honestly so shocked when I heard that she had said all those things.
I mean, where she said it back to back as well. I mean, from your point of view, do you think, you know, there's going to be a young male or female watching that video? Do you think she's damaged her own profile by being like that?
Absolutely. I think she is. Like, at the end of the day, but you don't get respect from being like that. Do you know what I mean? It's just, anyone who respects the sport, if they're watching it for the sport or they're watching it because you're following someone, you know, the fight's done. There's no need for this bad blood. There's no need for this. Like, we've beaten it out in the ring. We've had the fight, and I think it's just, she's not really showcasing herself in a good way. I mean, maybe she's trying to be like, I think she just wants to be the new Conor McGregor or Jake Paul and have this perception of it. But do you know what I mean? It's just, I think times are changing. I don't think that's the way to be, to be honest. I don't think you're being a good role model, and I don't think people should look up to people like that. Yeah.
Speaking about Jake Paul and Conor McGregor, obviously, you know, it's still a question mark over Jake Paul, because he's still in that transition phase. But someone like Conor McGregor, he's got the words and he can back it up with his fighting, and obviously his numbers speak for herself. I don't think that could be contested. But with her, you know, she got the win. But from your point of view, I know she didn't hardly hit you, because look at your face, you're not even damaged, and it was only a few days ago.
I left that fight. She literally didn't touch me. I had no marks, no bruises. In fact, I remember sitting in my dressing room and everyone was just like, "You look like you've just come out of a spa." You know, it's mad. I literally nothing.
Well, was there one moment where she might have hit you in the stomach or somewhere? And was there a moment where, even if the punch missed you, you thought, whoa, she's got some power there? Or you wasn't intimidated by
Not at all.
Her strength whatsoever?
No, do you know what? I was intimidated because seeing her on the pads and seeing her footage beforehand, I honestly thought she's going to be really strong and it's going to really hurt when she hits me. But when she did, when it was not, which was rare, but when she did land a punch, you know, it didn't hurt at all. You know, I've been sparring with people and I've had busted lips. I've had I've had nosebleeds. I've come out so bruised, and I was expecting that really, and yeah, it didn't happen. And I left that looking absolutely fine. I went on a night, I went out afterwards and looked absolutely fine and felt fine. She didn't land any body shots as well.
Yeah, I mean, fair play for doing your first boxing match over 4 rounds as well. I mean, typically people do 3 rounds for their first fight, so that's really, really good. Was there a moment in the fight, because you said she had a bloody nose, where you thought, I've got her here, she's hurt, and she can't cope with what I'm doing?
I thought, yeah, to be honest, when you see that person opposite you, and I could see she was tired, I could see that, and we were both were. I'm not going to say I wasn't, because I've got, like, by the 4th round, I was absolutely knackered. But, I saw that I knew I'd landed more punches. Like, the thing is, in the footage, her arms weren't reaching me. It looked like she was to hit me, but she weren't. Her hits weren't landing because her arms she didn't have the reach that I had. And when I saw that her nose and her face was so red, I thought, honestly, I was like, I've got it here. I've got that winning. And every time I landed a punch, Jordan in my corner would scream and they go, "Yay!" So I could hear how many times I was landing punches as well. So I was baffled, absolutely baffled.
So the conversation has come up about rematch. Yeah, Jordan said to me straight away, "Got to get a rematch." But then there's this kind of hesitation around it, because it's almost like, unless you knock her out, is the same thing going to happen again? So what's your take on it? If the rematch was there, would you take it?
This is the thing. I'm in 2 minds, because, first of all, I would like to rematch, because I only did that with 2 weeks' notice. And everyone's like, well, you've been in and out of fight camps. No, I literally had 2 weeks' notice. Yes, I had previously learned a bit of boxing, or I was doing MMA, but to have 2 weeks' notice, anyone knows a fight camp needs to be consistent amount of weeks. I feel like I have a lot more to give. And that was me on 2 weeks of just trying to cram what I could in and get back into the fundamentals of boxing and fitness. So there's part of me that wants to rematch her for that. And, I feel like if I had more time, I definitely would have won that. Won that fight, because it would look cleaner. But there is that element of, I don't want to rematch her, because I feel like this one was a little bit rigged. I feel like it was fixed a little bit, because and it's because she has a bigger following. It's because the crowd was there for her. When I came out, no one cheered for me. The fight had been sold out before I even came on the card, so everyone was obviously there for Elle, not for me. So imagine the uproar if I'd won the fight and the crowd saw the person that they're there for lose. So I'm a little bit hesitant to take a rematch, because how do I know that, again, this is, it's going to be legit, and it's not going to be rigged or fixed, or I'll just have to knock her out, and that's it. But before I even took this fight on, my old boxing coach did say to me, unless you knock this girl out, I don't think you'll win this fight, because it is her fight. And he did say that to me. And now that obviously has come true. Like, as I said, I want to know, I want a breakdown of how that was scored, in terms of, did I lose points? What was deducted? Because if it was based on me landing shots, I landed more on her.
Based upon your experience sharing a ring with her now, do you honestly believe that you could knock her out?
I feel like if I had more, I haven't been weight training. I haven't got this. I didn't have the arm strength. So what I had to use my attributes, which was my fitness and my long arms. If I had more time and I had a longer fight camp, then definitely I would have focused more on power and, strength and conditioning, and make sure that I had the power to make those shots and drive them through. So I had to work with what I had with 2 weeks. You know what? If I had more time, definitely would 100% be going for a knockout. Oh God, I'd have so much pleasure in that, especially with how she was afterwards.
If you like literally knocked her out and visualised her on the floor, blood coming out of her nose, how would that make you feel?
Amazing. You know what? It'd make me feel amazing. You know what? I feel like she needs to be humbled. I feel like she needs to have, some sense knocked into her. She needs that. And I think, I wouldn't have been like this if she had been respectful afterwards. But seeing how she was afterwards, and how she's actually disappointed in the sport, disappointed in the she's just making a bit of a mockery of it, to be honest, of how she was and not having that sportsmanship. So I just want to knock some sense into her, to be honest. So that'd be amazing.
So what's next for you, AJ?
Pardon?
What's next for you?
You know what? I definitely want to get back into another. Do you know what? I'd take on another boxing match, or I'd like to go. Obviously, I was training MMA before. I would like to do that at some point, maybe by before the end of the year. So I feel like this is definitely not going to be the last you see of me in a ring or an octagon because. Yeah, I've had. I wanted to have this experience because I had trained and been in a few fight camps, and I wanted to see what it was like, and I've had a taste of it. I loved it. I definitely want to do that again, but with more notice and more time on my hands and to really bring something to the table. And all I can say is, yeah, I know I didn't have the best technique, but I can watch that back. I'm not going to lie and be like, oh, I was amazing. I was this. I watch myself back and I can see what I need to do. I see what I need to change and what I need to work on. And that drives me even more. We learn from mistakes. And that's what I want to do. I want to, instead of like doing these, whatever these punches were, I want to drive them forward and make them straight, and I want to work on that. So yeah, I think for what's next for me, I'm going to be continuing everything I do already, but I definitely want to take on another fight, whether that be MMA or boxing. Either works for me. So yeah, hopefully get another one of those and get another.
It sounds like you got the bug and you're definitely addicted to it.
Yeah, do you know what? The feeling it's mad. You feel like you're in there, right? It feels like a lifetime when you're in the ring, but it goes so quick at the same time. And it's just a mad rush. And in fact, when I came out and went to my dressing room, I was sick. The amount of adrenaline that I had, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I wasn't sick on stage. I made it through, I did all my interviews. Then I came back to my room and I just literally was sick. Like I was just like, what the hell is happening? They're like, that's just the adrenaline going through you. And yeah, it's just a mad rush. And again, as I said, I've fallen in love with it. I want to do it justice. I feel like, my technique wasn't the best, but I'm proud of myself. I made it through 4 rounds. 2 weeks notice. My stamina, I feel like if I had more time, my fitness and my stamina, and I just want to just work on the things that I can work on and be even better for next time.
And in my experience, and Jordan is better to tell you this than I am, but in my experience, yeah, like you said earlier, the strength training actually plays a major role in it. The moment, even just your body strength, even when you're up against your opponent and you're shoving them back with your shoulder or your hips and stuff, that imposes on them and they become certainly more wary and more intimidated. And of course, if you can throw the shots as perfectly as you can, and you've got some power behind it, you can do some real damage. So I'm looking forward to seeing you back in there once you're a bit more maybe refined and stuff.
Thank you.
To close this off, have you got any words, post-fight words for Elle Brooke, your former opponent?
I'll just say, just be the best role model you can be. Like, think about your actions and don't just think about money. Like, think about the people you're influencing and what your statement you're trying to make, because you don't look big and you don't look hard for being that way. Personally, to me, I don't know if you're just doing it for the money, but you make enough money. So what do you gain from being a horrible person that's disrespectful? When you say you love a sport, you say you love boxing, but yet you want to make it look you're not doing it any justice with the way you act. So yeah, just think about your actions really and be the best version of yourself and be the best role model you can be. I don't want to be, I'm not going to come in and have a slagging match with her, but that's all I can say to her, because I think she needs that advice, because no one, obviously the people around her aren't giving it to her. So that's all I can say.
I want to see a part 2. I know it's a bit selfish of me, but I feel like it will be an even better fight. So look, thank you for jumping back on. I know you must be uber busy right now, and let's just definitely stay in communication. All right, AJ.
Thank you, darling. Have a good one.
You too. God bless.